SP kisses your ass. Okay? You have been spending your whole life kissing other people's ass. It's time that you get put on the pedestal, my friend. Okay? And I'm going to tell you how. So, you want to manifest your SP back. You want to know the truth? There's nothing impossible in this life. Because reality is whatever you say goes. Okay? Now, how do you use the power of your word? By understanding that you are God. Okay? No, you didn't create the heavens and the earth. No, you did not say, let there be light, and Noah's Ark came out. Guys, when I say you are God, I mean you are not the mind, you are not the body, you are simply the observer of the mind and the body. You are not this character that goes to the 9 to 5 every single day, who listens to Taylor Swift 24/7, or has 40K worth of bank debt. Bank debt can't touch you. You are invincible. You are an eternal being living a human experience. So when somebody says, hey, you did this to me, how dare you throw that tomato at me when I was trying to do my performance at the open mic night? It wasn't you throwing the tomato. It was the character that you've been playing this whole life, throwing the tomato. The observer was in the background going, dude, what the fuck are you doing? So when we understand that we are actually not human, that we are this power source, what many people call source, the operant power, or simply consciousness. When you really understand this reality, it is more simple when I sit here and tell you that everything that you see in your 3D circumstances is a reflection of your past assumptions. In other words, like when God said, let there be light, and light was created, it's the same way that when you used to get picked on as a kid and you lost all your confidence, you grew up with low self-esteem, and you carried that into your relationships, and therefore you created the reality where no matter how much you worked on your looks, no matter how much you developed your status and grew your masculinity or grew your, looks maxing, you couldn't hold a relationship to save your life, because it was living in the reality, existing in the reality that was created by a God who did not love himself to begin with. If you always grew up feeling like money was hard to get by, it doesn't matter how successful you are in your career, you will suck at keeping money and live paycheck to paycheck. But you could be the guy who kicks up his feet on the table, who never shows up on time. But if money was just like, I can get this in my sleep, I can eat $1 million for breakfast, you will get that reflected to you, and 100-fold. I mean, a lot of these millionaires out there are just a bunch of assholes who never even fucking graduated. And yet they deserve every penny, because they created the reality where it was easy for them, where money was like manifesting a fart out of their ass. And you can get that way. So now that I gave you my little Shakespearean monologue, you have to understand that you can use this God power. Now, when you get into the manifestation sphere, the manifestation community, there's techniques, there's affirmations, there's visualizations, there's SATs, robotic affirming, right? And I gotta be real with you, I love all the techniques that have been created here and there, but you want to get to the point where you just say that you have your SP. You say that you have the money that you want, and it comes to you. Okay? So we're on the topic of SP kisses your ass. Maybe when you clicked on this video, you are to the point where perhaps your SP is an ex and they're not treating you like the way you want. Or it's a crush, or it's somebody who you know but you would like to become romantically involved in, but you don't know if they feel the same way. And you're tired of always being the initiator. You want to be the one who they simp for. Well, let me ask you something. If that's the way that you're seeing it, where you say, I want to be loved, I'm not the one who is pursued, I always have to be the pursuer, well then you're basically admitting that you're not desirable. You're basically admitting that you are not this magnetic, irresistible, Giga Chad. You're saying that out to the world. And not because it's true, but because you believe that whatever you see in the 3D circumstances, whenever you go out there in the dating field, that because you don't get the results that you want, then this must mean X. If A plus B equals C, then, this must be the answer. But that is where you fuck up every single time. When you judge your reality from outside. Okay? The outside can't give us anything. Remember what I said at the beginning of this video. Your 3D circumstances are a reflection of your past assumptions. So if you see that your crush at the gym does not pursue you and does not give you the attention that you want, it's not because you suck. It's not because you're not wearing Teach Hanley or, has the same physique as all these other alpha males. If that's what you believe, then you created that assumption for yourself. But it is because you reflected, you're getting the version of your SP that reflects the assumptions you have about yourself. How can you expect for someone to love you if you don't even love yourself? I mean, it amazes me how many people I talk to they're like, I'm not that ugly, but how is it that I can never keep a girl? Or how is it that I can never keep a guy? But then you talk to them for 5 more minutes and you realize that these guys can't even take a compliment. It's like, guys, is it that hard to believe that people, if people see that you are allowing yourself to just burst up in flames and you're okay with it and you're just sitting there like nothing, do you really think that people are going to be going out of their way to take out the fire? No. They're like, well, if he's not even going to stand up for myself, why should I? You will get reflected back to you what you believe about yourself. And remember, you don't have to sit there on your couch all day and saying, I'm unworthy, I suck, I'm a loser, for you to get that reflected back to you. Basically the way it works is you never had to ever say consciously an assumption. Assumptions are simply created basically like a feeling, or like maybe from a traumatic event where maybe you know, God forbid, used to get, you know, beat up as a kid in school. And, you know, at a very young age, especially since you're very vulnerable as a child, you know, you will grow up thinking like, oh, I'm a loser, I suck, you know. You will just have this feeling, not where there's the voice necessarily telling you that, but you will just have this feeling of, oh, okay, I was probably getting beat up because, you know, nobody likes me, I'm ugly, or I'm not as cool as the other kids. But you see, if you would have known that all you had to do is tell yourself that I don't care if I'm their little punching bag and I'm not defending myself, I'm the coolest guy on the block, everybody's looking at me, even the teachers know to give me all A's even when I don't show up to class because I'm that guy, I'm that motherfucker. Imagine if you guys who used to get bullied as a kid would talk like that. I mean, if I ever have kids, I will support the hell out of narc-maxing those motherfuckers, man. I don't give a shit. I want my seed to walk around this world like if they're that guy, they're him, they're a king, because they are. Because you don't understand how powerful you are when you detach from what is perceived of reality. Remember what I said, you're not your body and your mind. You perceive your circumstances of the bullies hitting you, of the lack of attention from your gym crush, of the lack of text messages from your ex. You perceive that with your eyes. You feel the tension in your body, but you're not the mind. You're not your body. Your mind and your body are simply connected to the outside world. Everything separate from yourself is not you. So if the circumstances that you don't like are not you, then just create from there. Because you see, when you separate yourself from the mind and the body, there's always a little space within. Not so much, not a whole continent, but there's a little bit of a slot there. And any of you guys who have practiced self-inquiry, non-duality, you guys know that there is a sort of awareness of space between the reality that we all used to know as our life, our character, our personality, our human form, and our awareness. And you will notice that when you separate those two things, awareness is just stillness. That's why a lot of people talk about stillness and just be still, know your God. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a yoga room with, you know, candles and a pentagram. What it means is when you are constantly thinking about, I gotta do all this effort to get my SP, maybe I gotta, you know, get a new haircut to see if, you know, that'll work, or maybe I got to, you know, listen to this alpha male coach and work on my masculinity, right? But when you just recognize that you are source and you are just the awareness of all these thoughts and all these sensations, you realize that if you're the observer, you're only watching, you're only being, you're only there, right? But there's a flip side to that coin. When you can recognize that you are just stillness, but yet you thought you were this personality, you thought you were the mind and the body, and you basically lived life acting as if you were the mind and the body. Well, it's the same way that you now can replace that with a new reality, which is that you are not this human that you thought you were for the first 20, 30, 40 years of your life, but you are this new version which you're trying to create, which is with your SP. Now, I know this is a lot of shit, and I know that you probably are like, okay, can you just get to the damn techniques? But if you guys don't understand the fundamentals of manifestation, it's going to be very difficult for you to just robotic affirm every single day and do sats and do all this stuff, because I kid you not, that this is why I say that it's better for you to get to the point where you don't need those techniques, right? But I'll go ahead and get to the techniques, because I know that you bastards are impatient motherfuckers. So you want your SP to worship you. Look, anytime we're talking about that you want to be put on the pedestal and that you want to be, you know, chased by someone or whatever, first of all, I've been there, done that, right? I understand that. The easiest way, in my personal experience, to get chased by anyone, a lot of guys say pull away, you know, and, you know, match her energy and, you know, play this tug of war psychological mind game. First of all, yeah, that works. But if you tell yourself that that's the only way that you're going to get someone to get back, and you just listen to alpha male strategies every single day, then yeah, that's what you're going to have to do. But there have been, how many times have we seen the guy who's blown up the girl's phone and yet she ends up falling in love with him? That does happen. It does happen, guys. Okay, now I'm not recommending any of you guys to do that, but what I'm saying is just be very careful when you listen to the red pill community and when you listen to the next psychological mind hack on TikTok, okay? Because again, you're God. If you associate with red pill tactics and think that it's only those that work and you know, red pill is Bible, then yeah, you're gonna have to do red pill, but not because it's actually true, but because you said so, because that was the assumption that you made, right? But if you tell yourself, look, I'll do red pill when I want, but if I feel like double texting this bitch, I'm the exception, and she still simps for me, and she still thinks that I'm the most masculine alpha male in the room, right? So just thought I'd throw that in there. Don't necessarily think that just because this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about, that he's not just projecting his own inner insecurities and, you know, anger that he has towards women to begin with. But that's another video. The best way, in my personal experience, is working on self-concept. Now, we've heard this all the time, and people are like, oh my gosh, what the hell? A lot of people say you have to reprogram your mind and, you know, nervous system regulation. Again, that, just like I was saying about red pill, those are all limiting beliefs. If you want to associate with those beliefs, go right ahead. But when I went from just doing sats and robotic affirming to working on self-concept, I saw results within hours. This shit does not take long. All you have to do is don't just look in the mirror and say SP loves me and, you know, I'm in a great relationship with my ex, we're back together. Bro, walk around telling yourself, whether you're brushing your teeth, whether you're on your way to work, or whether you're right next to your gym crush and she's ignoring the hell out of you, tell yourself that no matter where you go, they set the red carpet for you. Every single woman or guy that sees me, the moment we make eye contact, they wet the hell out of their pants. I am the number one. I am the king. I am the queen. No one is better than me. I'm the most sexually attractive. I am the most seductive. I am the most intelligent. I am the only option because I am the biggest catch. I am the answer to their prayers. I am their drug. I am their addiction. You want to rampage. You want to, I mean, have you ever heard, I mean, I listen to rap. I listen to heavy metal sometimes. And, you know, when they are really going in, bro, when you're just like, you know, fuck yeah, dude, you want to get that vibe. And the best way to do it is don't go so, you know, too much wording, and it just get right to the point. I am their drug. I am their addiction. I am the only one they want. I am their number one. I am their number one sexual fantasy. I mean, go crazy with this, Because think about it, your subconscious has been listening to all your bullshit your whole entire life, whether it was consciously or subconsciously. That you're the loser, that you never get what you want, that you can't even formulate a sentence when you are trying to talk to your crush, that you're a nobody, that you're worth nothing, that even your family thinks you're a loser, all this stuff. And when you go from that to telling yourself that whenever you make eye contact with your crushes, that they get moist and have to carry 5 pairs of panties to work because they can't stop masturbating thinking about you. I used that affirmation on a female coworker a few years ago who never even would talk to me. It practically seemed like she didn't even know I existed. And I started saying that whenever we would work in the same station. It was basically like an experiment. And within weeks, she started doing all this weird social media activity where she would block me and unblock me several times, and we were not even following each other. And then she would start trying to get my attention at work, even when I was talking to other people. Next thing you know, we started making out in the storage room, and thank God human resources didn't find out. And it was all because I was saying these ridiculous affirmations and putting myself on a pedestal. I mean, think about it. I mean, you're practically sounding like a narcissist whenever you're saying, you know, that you're the king, that they bring the red carpet for. And of course, you don't have to use my exact affirmations, but you get the point. Whatever resonates with you, okay? I mean, because look, another thing too is like when I started doing this, man, you know, manifesting sometimes can feel so, I'm gonna be honest with you, it can feel so depressing, because if we're being real here, especially when you're new, it feels delusional at times. It feels like I'm over here telling myself and going to bed at night caressing my SP on an empty pillow. Like if someone was looking at me, they would want to call the police, right? But you see, when you start saying affirmations like they have to carry 5 pairs of panties to work because they can't stop fingering themselves thinking about you, you know, you start kissing your own ass. You start putting yourself on a more importance level than all your problems, than all the people that you have been idolizing your whole life, whether it was SPs, whether it was, you know, even money. We all look at the things that we lack, but we don't realize that we will always have ourselves. Because those SPs, even when we leave this world, who knows that we will be with them for eternity. One thing is for sure is I can guarantee you, whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in heaven or hell, one thing is for certain, that you will never lose yourself. So if yourself is all you got, you better build yourself into a tower that will never fall. Build yourself up. So that's what I would do. I would go crazy with the affirmations wherever you go. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I did this, I didn't just do this in the morning. I didn't just do this right before sleep. I was doing this all the damn time, because again, guys, our negative inner dialogue is a savage. That motherfucker does not shut up. So you don't shut up. You fire back. It's like when you're in a war. If you know that the enemy is going to be relentless, you must fire back and meet them right there in the middle. If you know that you're facing Mike Tyson in the ring, you better make sure that you're throwing haymakers right back. So what about visualizations? Well, again, in all my videos, I like to talk about, you know, the fundamentals like I just did, and then give you affirmations, and then tell you about visualizations. I will make separate videos of like cool visualization techniques that we can use, but I'm gonna be real with you. I'm a guy who truly believes that the more you try to put so much effort into your visualizations, the more you're gonna fuck shit up, because Visualization is really not hard, okay? That's one thing that people, when they listen to Neville, I think they get wrong, is that they have this idea that your visualizations need to be, you know, this, you know, PlayStation VR experience. You know, you have to feel the pimples on their face and smell their farts out of their ass, and you know that the imagery has to be in 8K. And you know, why was it that when I was kissing SP she looked like my Aunt Sally? It's like, look, I truly believe that whenever you say an affirmation about somebody, like, you know, my SP brings 5 pairs of panties to work every day because she can't stop thinking about me, there's an image that pops up. You know, it might not even be realistic. You might just see, like, whenever I see that, I see just like the pair of panties kind of like on a table, kind of like in a collage, and you know, they're not on a stack, they're kind of like a deck of cards, and they're just, you know, fanned out like that. And I'm not even seeing any, I don't even see my SP there. I just see the pair of panties. And right away when I see, you know, pink, blue, and yellow, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's, yeah, she's gonna have a good time. You know, it's about what is the implication. It's about what you know that means. It doesn't, I mean, who the hell, think of it this way, nobody else is watching the movie but you, okay? That's the beauty of it, okay? It's your imagination, okay? This is not, you know, this is not when you're doing a presentation in school and you know, it's art class and you have to present your finished project and everybody's like, bro, what the fuck is that? It's like, you know, fuck, man, this is why I never want to do art class again. It's like, dude, this is just between you and God, no one else. Be thankful that God gave you an imagination where if you don't like something, you can delete, edit, and start painting on the canvas so you can make it whatever you want. Now, I know a lot of us will sometimes say, I just gotta imagine SP, I gotta imagine, but she doesn't look exactly right. You know, I believe that with practice you will get better. But again, what I would do, especially if you struggle, is focus on affirmations. Because I mean, affirmations are a lot easier, okay? Say the affirmations that I was telling you, or create your own, and see whatever image pops up. Because again, it's like the same video format that we use for memories is the same video format that we use for visualization, okay? If you went to the drive-thru and they forgot your fries and you saw them put the fries in the back, okay? Or actually, hold on, because that doesn't make any sense. If you're picking up an order, maybe you're, you know, let's say you're an Uber driver, okay, and you were, you know, handing the order to the customer, okay? If you saw them put the fries in the bag, but then all of a sudden you hand it to the customer and they're like, hey, my fries aren't here, and they start accusing you, you know, if you saw with your own eyes that they put the fries in the bag and they asked you, okay, be honest with me, sir, did you see them give me my fries? All you got to do is go into your memory bank and you will remember seeing them put the fries. But you're not going to be able to tell them, you know, if the AC was on, or, you know, what if there was a fly by the first register. No, okay? If there was a booger in the manager's nose, no. You only remember what matters. It's a little blurry image, okay? Your windshield is foggy, but you still know that there's traffic in front of you at the red light, okay? It's the same thing, okay? Don't make visualizations and all these techniques more difficult than they need to be, okay? This video is starting to become a movie, so I'm going to wrap this up, guys. If you have any questions, leave them on the bottom. I will be doing consultations really soon. I am Neil Larthos. This is all that the I'm Awareness had to say. And I know you're going to be okay.